it just did it. Okay. Can't exactly say I was expecting that to just like happen. Bro, can I fucking window dock? God damn. Yo, this shit is ass. Windows, this is not that difficult. Okay, there we go. Okay. I can't see viewer number, so I might be talking to myself, but we're just gonna go. And I'm not gonna... What is auto stop? What does that mean? I don't know what auto stop means. We'll find out. Or hopefully we won't find out, because then that means it might just stop automatically. I don't know. But let's see, what was I doing? We're gonna... Mesh loading, that's what we were gonna do. I'm gonna make that like a text widget or whatever. Down there. Oh, my webcam in the spot. It's out of the way. What's going on, Kenneth? I'm just kind of fumbling my way around this. Okay. Oh, I did the wrong thing? I totally did. Okay. Oh. Being stupid? What was that? What is my... Oh. I don't know why that is like that. Okay, sure. There we go. Okay, so that still does that, and that is just a build. Okay, I don't know why it's like that on here, but that's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. That's right, I got distracted again. We were gonna pull up. Okay. So this is what I was working on. This looks fine. Okay, so we have to compile, ask him. Oh, this is gonna be wonderful. No. Huh? Oh. That's embarrassing. This will be embarrassing. Do I even have CMake? Okay, I do. Build from source, ASM common tools, like ASM command line, no. Holy hell, this thing's fucking huge. I'm about to, like, inject the most shittiest fucking C++ library of all time into my goddamn project. Alright, what did that do for me? Holy shit. Did that give me... Give me you guys. Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. Oh, that's not what I wanted to fucking know. Oops. Do I just do that? Is that what it even wants from me? Alright. Yeah, well, it doesn't want that, I can only imagine. Unless it wants this DLL, where the executable is, which would be annoying. Annoying if true. Okay, I'm noticing a severe lack of code/release. Even then, it still gave me my thing, so I'll just use that. Alright. Did I not build for release? Let me build for release. I'm not building for debug. I'm also not gonna do it through the fucking thing, because I can't be bothered, the command line. It's only going to take another 30 years, but whatever. It just occurred to me, you guys cannot hear the music. It's literally just the Bellagio theme. Okay. I don't know how quiet too quiet is. That should be fine, especially because I'm talking real quiet. There it is. Okay. Is it going to get evil if I rename this? Probably. I won't touch it, just in case. Ooh, you know what I can do that would be fun? That was easy. Okay. And then I don't... Should that be there? I don't think that should be there. Oh well. If it yells, I know where to move it, and then I also need the DLL for the thing that I just made. Oops. Where did it go? Oh, it's under binary. Okay. I'm gonna leave it there, and then if it yells at me, then cry about it. Wait, what? 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 No, I didn't want this. It's kind of cool. Okay, that's great, and this is awesome. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're gonna make me override a class? I don't fucking want to, though. I don't use OOP. I'm not a bitch. Okay, my importer. Okay, this was not helpful. Why don't I just get this working the way I think it should with like a test mesh that I have somewhere? I think here. Yeah. Like make this work the way I think it should work. Okay, so we have our scene, which contains a bunch of mesh nodes. These mesh nodes contain a bunch of mesh nodes, also a bunch of meshes, which are indices into this. These mesh nodes also should have... Okay, so each mesh should have its own VBO and VAO as well. Or no, it should have a pointer to a VAO, a VBO, and a IBO or EBO, whatever you call the element buffer. So we call it the index buffer objects. But then IBO is also indirect buffer object, so I'll probably go with element. Not that it matters. Okay. So we're gonna do. Oh, I'm all jied out. Okay, int. Actually, I shouldn't initialize these. Just to make it clear that they are uninitialized, and then it can pointer to the VAO. Right? That makes sense. I'm not doing something stupid. I don't like the idea, unless I have it wrong, of putting the VAO in directly. I don't know if your VAO would ever change during runtime, but like this is kind of like a universal thing, right? So if you were ever like, oh, all meshes of given type should use this VAO, then you have to go back and update them all. But if they just point to wherever it's supposed to be, so like maybe the scene can use a default VAO, and I think somewhere in my game state or my render handle, yes. So you have this default VAO, and you would just pass the memory address of that when making this VAO. So what do I not need? This also needs a mesh instance. It feels wrong doing this before I have any sort of ECS. Cry about it. And then I guess we don't really need this anymore, so we can get rid of that. That's probably going to break a million things. Yeah, so model doesn't exist anymore, so we need to create a scene. So like these are going to, where do these go? So you have program memory, right? And we're going to, we have a scene that gets made, a scene, so scene has a bunch of sub-objects to it, like a bunch of like mesh 1, mesh 2, and this might have some other thing, so you get the picture. So these are all like static, like these don't, oopsie, these don't change during runtime, I don't think. Maybe the material that they use would, but like, so there's two things to this. There's the static, like, binary information, like the vertex information that gets stored, like if we use like a compact exe, like you would store that in program memory, and then you also have stuff that gets changed during runtime. So like, how do we solve that problem? Like I wonder if I can use like constant expression or something like that. I mean, right, like I can automagically even just make this const. I don't think that breaks anything. Right, I hope that doesn't break anything, because that's not going to change, so I want that to get compiled into program memory, and then I have no idea if that's gonna, I mean, like I can test it real quick. So if I just comment these out and then comment out their definition as well. Okay, so like... Right, alright, I see why yeah, okay, so this needs to be scene. This needs to be all the different scenes. I hate that, like, a scene feels like a level. I feel like I want to name this something else, like a mesh group or something like that. Or just a model. Because this, yeah, this is model. Let's make this model, because that way we can keep the names consistent or whatever. So this is going to be a model. Because I might want to, I think I want to use model or a scene for, like, the level system, right? That seems like it would be a way bigger, way easier way to do that. So for every model in models, do some bullshit. So each model doesn't have its own. Like, what up, Reaper137? Like, I don't like the idea that this, like, scene, like, has a bunch of submeshes that are, like, splattered all across my program memory. Like, why are we doing it like that? I don't like that. I think, like, yeah, this is a tree structure, so, like, I wonder, like, you can flatten out, like, a JSON file, right? Like, that's a tree structure. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's something that I could, like, flatten out in program memory, just using, like, a buffer or whatever. Fucking hate graphics programming, bro. Like, yeah, because each model has all these, and then each node, yeah, so this is where these come from. So, oh, so these instances should not go. Each instance would render all of the models, and if you needed to duplicate one, then you would just use the same indices. I would imagine. Can't wait for the 200% stack overflow. Yeah, we're gonna be on Stack Overflow quite a bit, assuming this doesn't work the way I think it does. And it probably doesn't, because I assume these people are way smarter than they actually are, and they never are. So, I guess here we would do, like, here's where we would construct where, like, the instance meshing, or the instance rendering does its thing. So, like, construct the instance buffer. I don't think that's, like, a thing, but, like, you would pass that into, like, there's, like, a uniform buffer, right? You go through that. That's kind of what I would do here. I guess for now, let's do this the stupid way first. So, like, because I don't think you do this per instance. It's like for each mesh it's for each mesh node we, like, recursively do. I hate that. That sucks. That's really bad and stupid. Because you have to recurse through all of that beforehand and then buffer. Because there's got to be a way to buffer all of this at once. Right? Like, so here's where our tree begins, but we have all this, like, I guess you could get the size. Oh, actually, this doesn't work. Because you don't know the size of each mesh. Actually, yes, you do. You just can't put... Oh, yes, you do. You do. You just have to, like, calculate it. Because you would do the size of vertex times the vertex count. So you do. Let me make that a thing, so... This seems reasonable, so this is a bad name for this actually. I'm gonna call this get mesh vertex. I want to call this data size, but like there's more than that. Get mesh. I think get mesh vertex data size is like terrible. I'll call this like v data size. Is vert data size ass. How about get vert data size? That's fine. We'll call it that. I don't want to get too caught up over like naming semantics right now. That seems like a waste. I don't even know why I bothered compiling. It's still gonna fucking yell at me. I'm cooked. Right, so we're gonna get however big that is. And then we're gonna move the pointer over by that much. Well, that gets buffered automatically, right? So I guess you could do like a sub buffer. Ooh, I like that idea, actually. I really like that idea. Because then, so you have your mesh data, and then, or your like vertex data, you upload that in like chunks. And then when it's time to render, you can just... Like, you could upload the element. No. Why does this not make any fucking sense? Is this why, like, everything is so goddamn slow? Because you're gonna like recursively render through all of this, and like, when do you upload this to the GPU? Like, who knows? I don't want to do this the stupid way. Offer it like I could. I like very easily could. Okay, so for every model, we get... Like when we create the model, which I do down here, so we're going to create the model, right? Model, create model, and we don't... Because when you love how hot, eat the food. I feel so fucking stupid, bro. Doesn't make any fucking sense. You could do like like what even is creating a model? So we have this model. So this has a blank to null pointer. So like yeah, you would load the mesh. This is where all that garbage gets filled in. And these are our indexes into that. These are indexes into this mesh data null pointer. It's like the way I kind of see it, right, is just fucking, you have like these two buffers, right? So you have this. This is where all of your mesh data is going to go. So like maybe some of the meshes are bigger or smaller or whatever. And then you have this other buffer, which has like your model like information. Like this is where the vertex data is going to go. I don't make a W. So this is where the vertex data goes. This is all kind of packed into one row, and this is like a bunch of things. But these are always the same size. These are uniform. So these you can iterate over just fine. So if you want to iterate over this vertex data, like this is where this is model. No, this is mesh data, right? Because this tells you, okay, so like this one belongs to here. It has these two because it is two. One mesh only has one set of vertices. So like and then, so this is mesh data, and then you have model, which gets made during compile time still. So this is model data, which is also perfectly sized, right? So this is gonna have number of vertices and some verts indices, and that's basically all this has, right? It also has a VBO and a VAO, which makes sense, right? Because when you create this mesh, you need a this shit is gonna be all over my program memory. Why? Unless I just don't do it like that, right? So you have this, like, global vertex data buffer that, like, can only have so much in it. And you have this, like, mesh data buffer, which is gonna house these. Like, this can be like a vector, but this can't be, because this is like of dynamic size, and I just want them all like in a tightly packed thing. It just, this needs to know how far into that we can read or we can write to. You also need to know how much of it is like full, because when you write to it, you need to know like where to start writing to, and that's still a compile time thing. But like, this model data, which is gonna this is going to tell you which nodes belong to this. And mesh node has so, like, we need to make, like, this unambiguous, like, thing and, like, put all of our data into it, right? And that's where we start. Then every time we put data into it, we need to know how much data, and then add that to some, like, total, right? And that can be done with these counts. And there needs to be two of these. There needs to be like an index buffer and a vertex buffer. And also like, this is all a lot. Is that maybe all I need though? Is everything else is kind of put into uniform, right? And vertex is like, I think that's kind of all it needs, just vertices and indices, right? So we're going to have this vertex data, we're going to have this index data. Alright, let me look at OpenGL and see what it says. Okay, this is like some other completely unrelated texture data. That can be somewhere else, I honestly don't care. Yeah. Okay, alright, I think I have like a plan now. I think I've got this like figured out. So in this render handle, we're gonna make a mesh, like, no. Like, yeah, actually, so we're gonna make a vertex pointer. We're gonna call this the like, I want to call it the vertex buffer because that's what it is, but that name is kind of taken by OpenGL. Well, I mean, I guess that's vertex buffer object. I'm gonna call this like the global vertex buffer. And then this is going to be, what have I decided? It's UN32. Winner global index buffer. Then when I make these, we need to allocate like some predetermined size, right? So you can't have more than like 1,000,000 billion vertices. I kind of don't like that it's limited. Like, I mean, no, I guess it can be. I guess they can be vectors, right? I kind of don't like that they're vectors, but I guess they can be vectors. Or can they just be dynamic arrays? Is that like the same thing as it is in C? I mean, dynamic arrays don't exist in C, but you can like. Well, yeah, obviously not, because like this isn't C. Let's just make these vectors a bit easier. Okay. So those are now. Oh, I'm making. Ew. What am I doing, bro? Holy shit. Running pushback on. And that is gonna suck every time I want to do it. I guess I don't really have a choice. Because when you do it like this, like, you know... You kind of know how big it's gonna be, right? Does this still resolve to a pointer, like an array does in C? Can I still get a pointer to the thing? Oh. Dot data. Okay. It's just like Jai. Cool. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is so when you create a model, what should happen here? So you have your mesh data that's loaded in. You have your VAO. So like create model. We're going to obviously make a new model. Model.mesh data still exists. But this is now is an array of models. So like at least that's what it, or an array of meshes. So like I guess you could give it an array of mesh pointers. That's an interesting way to do it. Is that allowed? Can I do that? No appropriate constructor available. That's embarrassing. Oh, I just got hit with like a wave of tiredness. Holy shit. What the fuck? Okay, so we're gonna create a model. I can't think right now. What the fuck is happening? So we have this array of... Is that evil? I don't... Ugh. No, this is just a pointer to the mesh data itself. This doesn't need to be an array. Yeah, because we're just like... This is going to come from, like, indexing in... from like the mesh that we give it. Okay, so like the first thing you need to do would be like get this into this like global vertex buffer. This also needs to be of type vertex, not mesh. So now you have this like global vertex buffer, and we're gonna like load shit into it. You're gonna do like pushback, and the index buffer you're gonna do pushback. And you're gonna store how many you did that, like when you make the mesh. Okay, I'm with this. I'm completely with this. So we're gonna like, this is actually gonna be a pointer to a bunch of vertices, right? So vertex pointer verts. And eventually that's gonna take in a bunch of indices as well, but not immediately. No, actually that's still going to take a mesh. There needs to be a different thing. So like, we're going to return a pointer to the vertex that ends it off. That's also the wrong way. It's this way now. So this is going to be like vertex, bake mesh. Right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get this array of vertices, so a vertex array verts, And then, like, so we're going to get a pointer to, or we're just going to do while, what's going on? Curious Entertainment, not very much, not very far into this project, because I'm struggling to understand what this wants from me. We need to get, like, is this, like, still how this works, or is this not C? So if I get a vertex pointer, and then call this, like, key, this is going to be very C of me. So while plus P, we're going to do, like, or no, post-op, postfix, game, state, render, handle, global vertex buffer dot pushback. Is it? Is it push underscore back? I didn't think it was. That's actually a good name for it. You would think they wouldn't do that. So while, and then we're gonna move the. Should it be a size, maybe? Maybe this instead should be, this should probably return, like, some struct eventually. So, like, eventually return struct with vert and index size. But because for the moment we're only doing vertices, maybe this shouldn't return, this should instead return an integer of how many we baked. That's what I would say personally. So then we're gonna do return p minus verts, because this is the pointer. We're gonna like push that along. And then, like, we're gonna, can you free verts? Is up? Surely you can free verts. Is it just free? Can you just do that? I'm coming from Jai, so I'm a bit, yeah, it's free. Okay, so because once we do this, we don't need this anymore. Wherever this came from, we don't need it. And I'm just gonna, like, I feel like this should be at compile time first, like, eventually, I mean, but for now, I'm just gonna do it right here. We're gonna do, oh, I need to make the implementation for this, that's right, or the definition. So we're gonna do, okay, so basically what this is going to do is going to put all of these into our baked mesh, and this is going to return but this is going to just override each mesh each time, so we don't want to do that. We need to know how, like, the offset in which to start doing that. So, like, we could do int offset. That should be allowed, right? Because then that's going to start us however much into the buffer we need to go. Oh, and this needs a semicolon. Free verts return. Oh, but we free it and then we return it. That's not how that works. I guess I could too. Alright, because then you just have 2 memory addresses. That's obviously completely allowed. And we need to calculate this, and then there's going to be like int GBB total. Sure. I feel like I don't really like that name, actually. This is going to be... Yeah, this actually is a terrible. We're going to call this global. I don't know, I did that like it... Why I did that like it was a type. That's as bad as it gets. And then we're gonna call this like okay, so that works, because now we get how far into the buffer we got, and we're also increasing the size, so we know how much to start by next time. Actually, this doesn't need to even exist. I mean, unless you wanted to override. No, we're not going to let the user do that, because this is a runtime. This is like a... What do you mean the user? This is my engine. I do what I fucking want, dude. We're going to do verts plus game state render handle. This actually can't be a compile time thing because we need the game state render handle, so I guess this is going to get done. We could bake the vertex data into the executable and then run all of this, which also seems like equally as evil. Okay, so we're getting that. We're adding... No. Yeah, that's not what we want at all. This is bad. Yeah, that would have been very bad had I done it like that. So we have this... wait. Yeah, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? So pointer starts at verts, which is what we pass into it. This is a fucking vector. That seems really bad. I don't know why I don't like that so much. It's literally, like, fine. We also don't need this, because this is a... Yeah, I try to keep it clean, but I'm, like, actually tweaking right now. I don't know why I don't like the idea of using a vector that much, because it's literally just... Oh, well, if it, like, randomly reallocates itself, like, with a different size, then you have the wrong... Is that even how that works? Because when does it do that thing where you, like, push back and then it reallocates, like, twice as much as you were using just so it could do less alloc? Because that's obviously, like, the big no-no is malloc that's, like, slow. Right, so it's like, oh, you have 64 elements in your vector, so if you go to 65, then instead of just doing another 64, we're gonna do 128. So you have what, 196 now? Like, I don't want 196. I want 65. Like, it seems quite counterintuitive. I feel like I need to go back to the drawing board on this and take my glasses off because I can already tell they're pissing me off. It's like that scene in Whiplash where it's like, oh, you're adjusting the seat. Now you're good. Taking your glasses off. Now you're good. Okay. Right, so we have a bunch of mesh. I feel like I'm overcomplicating what is a very simple process. Actually, fuck all of that. We're doing this the easy and stupid way. It's not the stupid way, but it's the way that I want to do it. Fuck this whole thing. Organizing my data like this is only going to give me a massive headache. If I feel like I need to put, like, my idea was originally, like, put all of vertex data, this, like, massive buffer on the CPU, and then, like, when it gets created, buffer that to the GPU, like, as we load it into memory. But, like, why am I going to do that when I can just not? Because, like, that's only marginally better and obtusely more complicated, right? So we have a mesh, we have this, we have a data to our mesh, or a pointer to our mesh. We don't need this anymore. Probably not going to need these anymore. We don't need these. Definitely not. Okay. This is how you load a model in, right, with this model. So you have these nodes, you have these instances, because these are what gets passed into the renderer when you want to do instance rendering. Eventually this is going to be a bunch of entities, right? Let's assume this is, like, as low level as we're gonna get. I don't know why I looked over there. The camera's right there. Let's assume, like, this is as low as we're gonna get. Right, I'm literally struggling to do something that, like, all things considered should be pretty easy. So what we're gonna do is we have create model. We make a model, we give it its data, we tell it how many meshes it has. Wonderful. We generate a VBO. We don't do this per model anymore. We do this per mesh. And it's assumed you're not reusing data within that. So this can kind of, like, this needs to be in, like, a loop, right? So we're going to do for I hate this structure that they give for what a mesh needs to be. This has what a model needs to be, sorry. You have this, like, scene somewhere. I don't even remember where they define it. Right, so it has this, like, each model has a bunch of meshes. Why? I don't know. Even then, this doesn't really match what I had, does it? This has a bunch of nodes. Can a mesh have a bunch of meshes? Is that what they're implying here? No, it doesn't even. Was I, like, severely overcomplicating this and then I bit myself in the ass? because this has a bunch of meshes. Use a vector and give the file location constructed. The model loads the file right away via the load model function. This called constructed private functions are all designed as part of assets before route will cover shortly. We also store the directory file path and textures. The draw function is nothing special. It basically loops over each of the meshes to call our respective draw function. Okay. So each mesh has vertices, indices, and textures. That makes sense. Yeah, I think I was like severely overcomplicating this when I first read it, because like this model disagrees with what they just said. Because you have all these meshes. I guess that isn't like terrible. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna axe this. Right. So this is gonna have a number of meshes, and then these are our mesh indices. Okay, I understand it now. I understand it now. Okay. I actually just locked the fuck in. You guys are not ready for this. So we're gonna create the model, and we don't even do this right now. We just, if I actually stop to think, I'm just gonna not. That's like how we're gonna do this. If I stop to think, we're just not gonna do that. So mesh data doesn't exist anymore. And what it's called meshes now, right? And it's a vector. So create model. This also needs to have a path to. Don't tell me it's no, it's not. I'm dumb. We're gonna leave that as that for right now. And we're gonna have a different function that like loads the data in, like pipes it into this, right? So we make the model, we set it the VAO, we don't do, or we do, we need like a setup model. So we create the model, right? And we're not gonna do any of this stuff just yet. I'm gonna move this stuff out. Just for now. Oh, and this is going to return a copy of the model, isn't it? We're going to return a pointer to the model. And we're going to do return models.data or models dot models.data plus, here's what I can do, right? So I can get a I'm not thinking, this doesn't count as thinking. I'm gonna call this like this is a pointer to a model. This is a very C way of handling it, once again. I'm sure there's a vector.count, I don't remember it off the top of my head. Oh. I mean, I guess. It's dot size. That should probably be fine. Let me, like, delete any references to shit that, like, doesn't exist anymore, so we don't need that. I kind of just want this to compile already, so this... Let me see what std vector n does. Returns an iterator pointed to the past the end element. Theoretical element located one position after. Okay, so I could do like... Okay. Okay. Minus, minus. Game state. Screw all this. Overcomplicating. Once again, I accidentally stopped to think. See what happened? I stopped to think. And that was bad. We can minus, minus. That is the ugliest syntax of all goddamn time, but it just might work. So we're going to create a model. We're going to push it back in the vector. Or we're going to give it the VAO pointer. Push it back in the vector. That should be fine. Then there needs to be a populate. Is that even going to compile? Models is not... Oh. Sorry. Create model. Oh, this needs to be a pointer. VBO is not a member of model. Okay, so now we're doing, like, real shit. Unexpected struct. Oh, okay. That needs a semicolon. That needs a semicolon. Yeah, as you could tell, it's been a while since I've compiled this. 34 hours. Okay. I'm just going to return this for now. Just get the data. Return cannot convert from iterators. Why? I don't want an iterator. Yeah. Alright, we're doing it the dumb way. I see, that's again, I stopped to think, I try to do it the smart way. Let's just try that. I convert from vertex 3 to vertex pointer. I didn't even change that, man. Okay, it didn't like file path either. Why did it not like... Let me just do that. Am I like being stupid? I feel like I'm being stupid. No, string is fine. What do you want from me? Mesh, undeclared identifier. Oh, I accidentally gave this. Yeah, that needs to go here. Oopsie. Because I would prefer the entire model share the same VAO. Or maybe that's not right. Alright, I'm deleting that because apparently it doesn't like it for some reason. I'll figure that out later. Oh, and this can't be constant, apparently. God only fucking knows why. Ugh. Let's see why people don't like this programming language now. ICD vector is a class template requires template argument list. Cannot convert from UN32T to int pointer. Oh, this needs to be UN32T. Too few template arguments. This is also spelled wrong. Oh. This is defined in the wrong order. Holy hell. Mesh undeclared identifier. Yeah. That will happen. So like this needs to be in like reverse order almost. Mesh instance also needs to be above this. And render handler should be at the bottom. Wow, okay, I really was not expecting that to work. Okay, so that compiles. Let's see why it didn't like string maybe. That can be the next thing we do. File path. Unknown override specifier. Is like file path a taken name or something? Unexpected token. Okay, what if I call this like is file path just a bad name? No. Okay, I didn't think so, but just for a sanity check. Path. Unknown override specifier. Excuse me. Okay, if I just do this, is it just not like string? Yeah, it just isn't like string for some reason. Oh. Holy headphone error. Holy. Okay. Ah. Oh, is it? Yeah, if anyone in chat knows why sometimes you just hit the build button twice and it just, like, works, be my guest. I'm using Premake, and I do not enjoy it. Okay, so that's good. So now it builds. So we're going to create a model. With the default VAO. Cool. So now we have this is going to be to our model pointer. Okay, and now we need to populate the, so we have one of these. This thing needs some meshes and a mesh instances. And basically, and a node. So we need to do 3 things. Let me do like a step-by-step here. So we need to load a mesh into this model, or like insert, like attach mesh to model. Like, I guess... I would need to make a mesh node. What does that have again? Right. So we would just get, this would be blank, and this would just have 0. Like, we can do that, like, kind of recursively, I mean... We would do this recursively when we load the model, but because we don't have a model right now, we just do it once. I already have a mesh, actually. Test model. Okay, so then we're going to do... So mesh... Yeah, that looks good. We're going to do test model... meshes... dot pushback. Right. That shouldn't yell. Why would it? Oh. Okay, that's good. Test model.pushback. We need to give this a single instance. So test model instances dot pushback, and this can be like a blank instance. Sure. And then nodes, so this needs to be this pushback shit is horrible. Don't convince yourself that I'm okay with any of what I'm doing right now, but I'm getting frustrated at the fact that this isn't working. Okay, it's being stupid. So children is going to be none. And mesh instances is going to be, it's going to be not blank, but we need to add 1 of 0. Yes. Okay, so let me make a new mesh node. Let me call this indices instead. We'll push back 0. And we're going to call this test node. So now that should be 0. Okay. That should be fine. So now in render, for every, so this is every model, right? For every mesh instance, oh, we still need to upload that data to the GPU, don't we? Yeah, we never do that. We don't do that every frame. What's okay? So this is like the the like raw way of doing it, and then I'm gonna put these on to like reusable functions in a minute. It would be here. It would be this step when we upload that stuff to the GPU. Because where the VBO and the EBO go as well. So I'm going to do GL gen buffers here. It seems like the easiest first step. So after we should go before or after. Do it before or after. Maybe. Left of dot. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. What do you want from me? Oh. Cool. Sorry, I gotta answer this real quick. Okay. Okay. Generate the VBO instances, that's fine. So now we need to do and then we need Is that how that works? GL buffer data? Oh. Where? What? Why is the... Does it not normally... It doesn't normally look like that, I swear. Maybe named, just in case. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Okay, so we need to do the size. So the size is going to be... Okay, so what type do we need here? So we need to be like... Okay. Okay, well, I totally accidentally just deleted all that shit. Oh well. Let me just make this more clear. Really gotta stop putting my phone face down on my desk. I do have a specific game in mind. Just a very generic, like, roguelike first-person shooter, where, like, I haven't really decided on, like, an art style yet, but I wanted to do, like, maybe one of those ASCII renderers, or, like, one of those, those ASCII dithering renderers. Those things are super fucking cool. Just something really simple, quote-unquote, as I say, as I'm writing an OpenGL renderer. I kind of want this to be, like, a project that I use for the, like a way to, as a portfolio pattern, because at the moment my portfolio is kind of lacking despite having a job. I just want to prepare myself in the future, and, like, I can write a Jai renderer all I want. I'd have been done with this. I could be done with this way quicker if I was writing it in Jai, but unfortunately nobody's hiring for Jai. Yeah, there are a lot of those cool renderers popping up. There's this one guy on Twitter that I see. Let me pull him up. He does, like, digital horror. I think it's called digital horror vacui or something like that. It's a super cool style. Yeah, this guy already. This dude is super cool. So, like, there's a bunch of these, like, art pieces that this guy does. They're all, like, pixel art, but they're all done right, like, with this super interesting, like, here's something like a renderer that kind of takes in this style would be sick, I think. Methinks. Sure, there's a lot of art like this, but I don't think there's, like, a real-time game that does anything like this yet. And I'm still very new to shader programming and, like, renderer programming in general. Obviously, if you couldn't tell by watching me, like, fumble around writing this renderer. What's going on, some random guy. But yeah, something like this is kind of what I want this game to look like. I think it would be super cool if I could do that. Okay, what was I doing? So I was getting the pointer to this. Why was I doing that? Yeah, I think people give C++ too much shit. It's just the fact that I'm fresh off of writing a Jai renderer, and I, like, can't focus because it's the name of the editor. Get it? That's super embarrassing. Here it is. I shouldn't say I just got done because I'm still working on this, but, like, this was a very fun Jai project, and it's all procedural, so I didn't do any mesh loading, so this whole mesh loading business is new for me. But basically I wanted to use this project as an excuse to really learn about OpenGL and, like, the render and, like, shader programming and stuff like that, so I can eventually tie it back to this, because as proud of this as I am, this renderer probably wouldn't win any awards. Because it was the first one that I ever wrote. That was the first ever OpenGL project I ever did. I, like, have the original one around here somewhere, like, what that used to look like before it looked like that, right? Right, it used to look like this, and then now it looks like this. So it's a process for sure, I will say. Okay, so we do that. We put the thingy there where it needs to be, and this is of type mesh. Right, okay, that's why I, like, did all this bullshit. Yeah, I think engine jobs are definitely going to dry up as more, or I should say engine jobs, the jobs that require you to work within an editor, I think, are going to slowly dissipate as those editors try to integrate AI, and it's like some mess. I've been working in Unreal for a job for about a year, actually a year to the month. It was a year yesterday. So I mean, as much as I enjoy working in Unreal, I find when it's personal projects, it fights me more than it helps me. When it's working with other people, like, yeah, I'm sure the artists love that you can just click a button and your shit is just like there. So I would never try to go to my job and be like, hey, I think we should write our renderer from scratch. I would never ever suggest that. But as primarily a programmer, I think this is probably the way of the future. Set up model identifier. Oh, did I call them two different things? I did. Really love Unity, but it's time for this. Yeah. Unity is C# if I'm not mistaken, and there are a lot of overlaps, so I don't think you'll have too hard of a time. Warning equals size t, potential loss of data. Cannot convert. Cannot convert argument 2 from mesh to mesh pointer. Oh. Oh. Dear. Missing type specifier. I also prefer systems and engine programming over like gameplay programming, but you know, at some point you got to stop making engines and start making games. Eventually, but I get my fix of that through my job, so I'm not terribly worried about it. What are you talking about? Redefinition? I define it once. Oh. Wait. Oh, that's super embarrassing. Why did I copy the word void? I can just write the word void. That's super duper embarrassing. Oh. This needs to be dereferenced. There it goes. System program. Yeah. I don't know. I think, you know, you've been doing it for 8 years, so I would say no better time than now. I would not recommend this track for somebody who has never programmed before, or especially not programmed in like I hesitate to use the word real programming language, but I mean like visual scripting in Unreal. It is C++. It's effectively what it is, but I think if you do that and then you think you can write your own game engine, you might end up losing yourself, which is frustrating, I'm sure. Good software. I agree. Wow, okay, this next generation of software engineers maybe isn't cooked after all. Because there's a lot of people who don't care about good software design patterns, and I think that that's really, really bad, because we have people creating software that don't know how to create software. Isn't that kind of backwards? Like, you wouldn't want your surgeon to not know how to do surgery. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of a backwards way of thinking about it. And I agree with the statement, anyone can be a programmer. But not everyone can be a good programmer, not because they're incapable, but because of their environment, the way that they're taught. All those different things can lead to the fact that a programmer maybe isn't the best software engineer. Those are kinds of things you pick up along the way. You just kind of have to know what to take out of things like university, for example. There it is. Okay, cool. That's a good sign. Ooh, I did not mean to do that. That's embarrassing. Okay. And we buffer the data to it. We don't need to bind. We don't need to do that, I don't think. Okay. That's good. That's a big deal. Okay, so we're setting up the mesh. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say if I run, I'm probably gonna get like a null pointer or something. Oh. Hey! Oh. That didn't take long. Why did it crash? Can't say I was ready for that. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Let me like double check the OpenGL. Where's the instance rendering thing? Okay, so I guess you do just kind of... Isn't the whole point of this to, like... not do it like that? Oh. You know what? I'll deal with this later. I'm going to do it the dumb way now. Or... so we have these mesh instances of this entire... No, we want to do... So we're only going to render one instance for now. For now. So for... No, mesh node. We're going to adjust the node. It needs to be like this, right? Models. Or just model. Model dot nodes. All things considered, I think these can be there. No, this can probably be. I don't know why they were in the loop. I don't think it makes sense for them to be, but I'm going to put them there anyway. And this needs to be done for all of those, right? So this is not going to be recursive either. Oh well. I'm just going to try to put the triangle on the screen right now, and I want to do that by being stupid, but I don't care. So we get the mesh node. Right. So we have the node. Let me compile this to make sure I didn't do this wrong. I did. Ew, this seems like it sucks. So for every model, you get all of its nodes, and for all of its nodes, you have these indices. Sure. Like I said, I don't even care. you wanted good software design patterns, you're not gonna get them. Not yet, at least. Trust me, it's coming. So we need a bind buffer. It's gonna be model dot. I need to get this fucking build up. By the way, I can't see a goddamn thing. So model dot meshes of the ID dot video. This is PGL. Non-zero chance this works. Did not work. I get the feeling it has something to do with this crap, so if I just like do that. Okay. Getting good skin meshes is something that worries me. To be completely honest, I barely even know what skin meshes. Let's do some research while we're here. Oh, it's like a, yeah, I gotcha. It's just like an animated mesh, I gotcha. Right, with like a bone hierarchy or whatever. Yeah, that shit's hard. I had a buddy who was working on that. I don't think he gave up, but he's just still working on it. It's been a while, and he's like a goat. He's like cracked, so if he isn't struggling, it just takes a while, then it's probably gonna take me like fucking 20 years. I'm sure there are default ways to handle it, right? Okay, let's see where this craps out. Is it here? No. 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 Is it here? Yes. So suddenly test model nodes dot pushback. So like if I just like completely disable this. Yeah. So it's some here that it doesn't like. Is it this? No. Is it any of this? Where? Oh. Was that the problem this entire time? Embarrassing if it was. Let's just animate the vertices. I mean, the entire point is hopefully I can just export them from Blender or whatever. And I don't. Yeah, you just gotta support whatever Blender supports at that point. Get vertex data size local function definitions are illegal. I think I'm just being stupid. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that still crashed. Okay, is binding the buffer causing it to crash? No, so it's drawing the arrays. Why is this a problem? Why this is suddenly not working? I mean, like, does it... Is it these? Does it want these? Because that would suck if it wants those. It doesn't. It doesn't care about those. I feel like this is out of whack. It's not working. I feel like I'm one step away from this working. Okay, what if I just do... Okay, so the thing just really does not like GL draw arrays. Why don't I like render doc this? Well, that will certainly do it. Okay, well that gave us something. Did I, like, screw up my main or something? While not, GLFW window should close. Render. Just have it capture the first 5 frames. I can step through them. No errors or warnings. I mean, that's telling for sure. Oh. Did I ever even... Did I? Okay, so you set up the mesh, you push back, you make a test, and you push back 0. Yeah, that should be working. believe it or not, I might have to, like, think. I also might have to bounce or remodel for every node I need to see. Okay, on that note, I have got to bounce. I don't know why this isn't working, but that's a problem for me to figure out another day. This might not be right. I'm kind of embarrassed, low-key, after 2 hours. Holy shit. I could not get this to work. But that's learning. And I'm going to have to... revert my changes and see what was working before, because if I, for example, if I push that and then I revert, oh no, do not reorder. No. Check out. That's what I wanted to do. Discard. Give. Oh, that's very interesting. That is super interesting. Okay, that's good to know. So I was working on this on my laptop, so I guess I gotta fix that. Okay. Thanks for stopping by. Why did this get so many views? That's interesting. Okay, catch y'all later.